A very good morning to all. How are you doing, children? Children, in today's video class, we shall study the lesson 8 of a snapshot book, The Tale of Malan City, which is a poem composed by Vikram Seth. So, let us first of all learn something about the poet of the poem, Vikram Seth. Student, Vikram Seth is an Indian novelist and poet. He has written several novels and poetry books. Student, he has received many awards also, such as Padma Shri Award, Sahitya Academy Award, Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, W. H. Smith Literary Award, and Crossword Book Award. The following poem actually has been taken from his book Mappings, which was published in 1981 and is included in the collected poem by Vikram Seth. Student, as far as this particular poem is concerned, this poem narrates the story of a state which had a just and placid king. But the king was not wise, so he did not do did no good to his people, and ended on the gallows through his own stupidness only, students. And strangely enough, student, the king is replaced by a melon. Yes, watermelon. And so every man now in the state is free to do what he likes. In the poem are happy now. Now in the poem everyone is happy after the death of the king. But without laws and their enforcement, there can be anarchy or the law of the jungle only. So, without further delay, let us see what is there in the poem. Student, the poem is like this, that in the city of which I sing, there was a just and placid king. The king proclaimed anarchy should be constructed, and an ark should be constructed. I beg your pardon, that triumphantly would span the major thoroughfare to edify spectators there. The workmen went and built the thing. They did so since he was the king. Now the king rode down the thoroughfare to edify spectators there. So let us see what does the poets say in these lines. Student, once there was a justice-loving and cool-headed king. He decided to get an arch built over the main highway. His motive was to benefit and improve the onlookers, both mentally and morally. So the workers built the gate. They dared not disobey the king. Now let us see what is there in the next lines. Student, under the ark he lost his crown. The arch was built too low. A frown appeared upon his placid face. The king said, "This is a disgrace. The chief of builders will be hanged." The rope and gallows were arranged. The chief of builders was led out. He passed the king. He gave a shout. "O king, it was the workmen's fault." "Oh," said the king, and called a halt. So let us see what does the poet say in these lines. Student, now the king rode down the highway to show himself to the people, and it so happened that his crown hit against the low built ark and was lost. Now the king was very angry. He got very angry. He took it as an insult. He decided to hang the chief of builders. Students, all the arrangements were made for the execution. And now the chief of builder was taken past the king. Student, the chief of builder told the king that he was innocent. And he put the blame on the workmen. He put all blame on the workmen, on the laborers. The king put off the hanging for a while. So let us see what is there in the next line, students. To the proceedings, being just and placid now, he said, what did he say? He said, I must have all the workmen hanged instead. The workmen looked surprised and said, O king, you do not realize the bricks were made of the wrong size. Summon the masons, said the king. The mason stood there quivering. And now what? It was the architect. All the workmen said, King, it wasn't our fault. It was the architect, they said. And then the architect was summoned. So let us see what is the meaning of these lines, students. Now, what happened was, since being just and serious king, he forgave the builders. He forgave the chief builder. And he ordered the hanging of all workmen. Student, the workers passed on the blame to the brickmakers who had made the bricks of the wrong size. Now, the king sent for the masons who stood trembling with fear, who were standing there with fear. Student, these masons actually, they blamed the architect for the ark. They passed on their blame to the architect. They say in the lines what is written, well, architect, said his majesty, I do adorn that you shall be hanged. Said the architect, O king, you have forgotten one small thing. You made certain amendments to the plans when I showed them to you. Now, student, the king heard this. The king saw red. In fact, he nearly lost his head. So let us see. Student, the architect too had a point in his defense. He reminded the king of the change he himself had made to the plans. The king heard this and turned pale. He was in a dilemma, what to do and what not to do. So let us see what is there. He said, but being a just and blessed king, he said, this is a tricky thing. I need some counsel. Bring to me the wisest man in the country. Student, the wisest man was found and brought. Carried. Not brought, carried to the royal court. And he could not walk and could not see, so old, and therefore he was wise, was he according to them. So now, student, let us see what happens in the next lines. A very old and experienced man was presented before the king. He suggested that the king should punish the culprit, and in this case the ark itself was the guilty thing. What did he said? He said that old man said, "Ki culprit must be punished." And who was the culprit according to that old man? According to that old man, who was the culprit? That ark which touched the crown of the king, and because of which only that crown fell off, and the king got angry, and as a result of that there was an insult of the king. So what did that wise man told? Wise man said that nobody is culprit and blameworthy. It was only the ark only. So let us see what is there in the next line. Truly the ark, it was banged the crown off, and it must be hanged. To the scaffold the ark was led, when suddenly a counselor said, what did the counselor said? Counselor said, how can we hang so shamelessly? What touched your head, your majesty? True, mused the king, By now the crowd, restless, was muttering aloud. Now, student, what happened was the ark actually was taken towards the gallows, right? Because of that old man, this ark was culprit. But suddenly a courtier or a minister spoke in favor of the ark, saying that they could not hang the ark because it had touched the sacred head of the king. Now, student, the king agreed with his minister. But by now, the crowd was in a rebellious mood, right? And they wanted some action, means hanging. So now see, the king perceived what? Their mood, and trembled and said to all who were assembled, let us postpone consideration of finer points like guilt. The nation wants a hanging. Hanged must be someone, and that immediately. So, student, the noose was set up somewhat high, and each man was measured by and by only. So now, student, what happened was, since the crowd was in a rebellious mood and they wanted some action, some hanging, so to please the public, students, the king said that somebody should be hanged, whether he was guilty or not. So a noose was set up, but it was somewhat high. And let us see what is there in the next lines. So everybody was measured there, student, but only one man was so tall. He fitted one man, and that was all. And he was the king, his majesty, was therefore hanged by royal decree. So do you know who got fitted in that noose? It was the neck of the king only. So a noose was set up, and it was somewhat high. Many people were measured, but only the king was found tall enough to fit the noose. Yes, and he was therefore hanged only. So, student, now let us see what is there in the next line. Thank goodness we found someone, said the ministers, for if instead we had not, the unruly town might well have turned against the crown. Long live the king, the minister said. Long live the king is dead. Right? They pondered the dilemma, then being practical minded, sent out the heralds to proclaim in his former majesty's name what? The next to pass the city gate will choose the ruler of our state only. Right? As is our custom, they will be enforced with due ceremony. So let us see what is there in these lines, student. Now, student, the ministers felt great relief, but they were equally foolish also. Now the king was dead, but they were happy that now the people were calm. Now, student, the next step was to find another ruler. So the proclamation was made as per their custom, right, that the first person who passed the city gate would choose the ruler. As these are the lines, a man passed by the city gate, right? An idiot, the guards cried. Wait. So what was the first person who will pass the gate would choose the ruler. Student, a fool passed by the city gate, and the guards detained him and asked him to name the new king. Right? Like this, these are there in these lines. Who is to be the king? Decide. A melon, the idiot replied. This was actually his standard answer to all questions. He liked melons. You are now our king, the minister said. Crowning a melon, they led, carried the melon to the throne and reverently set it down. Now, student, now what happened was the fool who loved melons gave his standard answer to all the questions as melon. So, student, the ministers accepted his decision. Now they crowned and set a melon on the throne only. Let us see what is there in the next line. Student, this happened actually years and years ago. When now you ask the people, so your king appears to be a melon. How did this happen? So they say, well, now, account of customary choice, if His Majesty rejoice in being a melon, that's okay with us, for who are we to say what he should be as long as he lives in peace and liberty? The principles of laissez-faire seem to be well established there. Student, the ministers accepted his decision and they crowned or set a melon on the throne. Student, this incident happened many years ago. But if you ask the people why their king looked like a melon, they will say that it is due to their customary way to choose the king. This is what their customary way. They had no say and no complaint against the customs, so long as they themselves were left to live in peace and enjoy freedom. So, as long as they are living in peace and they are enjoying freedom, they consider their king as a watermelon also. So, this was the explanation of this poem. Hope you have understood it. Thank you, students.